Now it is with great pleasure that I introduce our second co-valedictorian for the College of Science, Brody Taylor. Brody will be graduating from our microbiology department, also with a 4.0 GPA. Brody grew up in Springville, Utah. He played football and basketball for the Red Devils. He received a scholarship from Snow College and began his academic pursuits there, where he says he loved his time, fell in love with his wife, Abby, and realized he was actually a nerd. In fact, it was an inspirational anatomy class at Snow College combined with watching his brother, who was a hospice nurse, interact with patients, and watching the care that hospice nurses and doctors took with his dad when his dad had cancer that really drew him to the idea that he wanted to become a doctor. Brody had a full ride scholarship at a university in Mississippi after his time at Snow College. But when his father's cancer returned, Brody did not want to be so far from home. He texted the Weber State football coach and asked if they had a spot for a kicker on the football team, and they did. So this began his journey at Weber. He says that the football practices nearly killed him, but he enjoyed being a part of that team and having Jay Hill as his coach. Brody notes that Dr. C, that would be Dr. Cullenberg, and all of the faculty in the microbiology department were unbelievably kind and supportive. He is very appreciative of the research he was able to do, noting in particular Dr. Twing's microbial ecology class, where he was able to team up with students from the analytical chemistry class, and together they mapped out and analyzed stream pollution, the results of which they presented at the undergraduate research symposium. Brody has volunteered at McKay and will be volunteering as a hospice volunteer this summer. He hopes to attend the University of Utah Medical School to stay close to his mom. I want to note that this is a student who loves to dissect cadavers. So I think he's in the right area. Brody wants us all to know that Weber State has been a tremendous blessing to him. I would now like to invite Brody Taylor to the podium.
My name is Brody Taylor, and I'm honored to speak to you today. Now, before any of you guys get offended that I just called you a bunch of nerds, let me explain why the term nerd in my book is one of the greatest compliments. The first time I got called a nerd by anyone other than my older brothers was by my college football coach. And funny enough, it made me so happy. Who doesn't want to get recognized for all their hard work? I was honored to hold this title because in high school I wasn't the smartest kid, I had an average ACT score and a decent GPA. But the more my teammates and coaches called me a nerd, the more I began to believe them. I soon found myself excelling in the classroom. I learned that it doesn't matter how naturally intelligent you are, hard work trumps all. I began to reach the top of my classes with just a desire to learn and my student-athlete work ethic. For some reason, when I got to college, a switch flipped in my brain, and I began to enjoy learning. I say for some reason, but I know what the reason was. I had amazing parents who motivated me and professors who inspired me. One of my favorite things about the professors in our College of Science is that they're nerds. They are the reason I was excited to come to class every day. For example, Dr. Walker. This man has a story for everything. He could go from talking about glycolysis to how he helped fix Utah's DUI legislation because he noticed he was missing units, or how he knew the head chemist at Coca-Cola. And then we have Dr. Arnold, who would blow my mind every day with some new physics thought experiment. And don't even get me started on some of our ultra nerds. Crook. I loved labs from Dr. Crook. This man just knows too much. He could talk forever about some alternate universe book or movie, but better yet, he could talk for hours about microbial physiology. Man, that was a fun course. My point is, it's 100 times easier to succeed when your teacher is a nerd. I owe all of my success in the classroom to my professors who are passionate about what they teach. We've all had professors who are nerds and professors who are just smart. And the difference is the nerdy professors are excited to teach. They're still fascinated by the content, even if it's their 20th time teaching from the same set of slides. The number of times I've heard Dr. Clark say, "Isn't that so fascinating?" and then proceed to explain why it's so interesting to him, just to realize for myself, "Wow, that is cool." And then go home and tell my wife about all this crazy new stuff I learned. Weber State. I think I can speak for all the graduates in this room when I say, please continue to hire nerdy professors. I mean, come on, we have a microbiologist on staff who worked with NASA as an astrobiologist. That's insane. So now that I've said the word nerd 100 times, I want to finish by talking about one of the most important lessons I've learned while being a student athlete. And that is that you need to take pride in the path that has led you to where you are today and represent that path well as you move toward your future. Like every one of you, I've had a unique path to get to where I am right now. I started off at a junior college, and though at times I was looked down upon both athletically and academically, I'm so proud that I went to Snow College. Snow is where I discovered my love for education, and of course it's where I met my perfect wife. My football coaches would always preach that we as student athletes represent more than ourselves. We represent our team, our coaches, and most importantly, our school. They would always say, if you screw up, the news article won't state your name in the title. It'll say, a Snow College football player, ... And that always stuck with me. My behaviors, words, and choices, though my own, are not my own. I represent more than myself, and so do you. I hope you are all as proud as I am to be a Weber State graduate. We need to go throughout life being proud of where we've been and what we've achieved. We should act in ways that reflect on the morals and missions of the institutions we've been a part of. When I'm a doctor, I'm going to be so proud when I tell people that I graduated from Snow College and Weber State. And not in a boastful or prideful way, but in a way that expresses the love and gratitude I have for these schools and how they've propelled me forward. The main thing I want you to take away from my speech is that you should all be proud to be Weber State graduates and that you can achieve anything. Well, because you're nerds, so own it. Thank you. Go Wildcats!